Today, we are stepping into a vibrant and dynamic world of fashion, a space where culture, resilience, and identity come alive. And we have an inspiring guest with us, a visionary transforming African fashion on the global stage. Meet Aisha Ayensu, the creative force behind Christie brand. Inspired by her grandmother, Aisha has built a brand that seamlessly blends African heritage with modern elegance, bringing tradition into contemporary fashion. Her journey is one of bold vision, perseverance, and a deep passion for uplifting communities through creativity. Aisha's work has garnered international recognition, from being named one of Forbes' most promising entrepreneurs in 2016 to showcasing at Paris Fashion Week, dressing icons like Beyoncé and Alicia Keys. She's been featured in Vogue Italia, Harper's Bazaar, and was recently selected to exhibit at the Victoria and Albert Museum's Africa Fashion Exhibition. But her impact extends beyond style. She is a leader in sustainability, tackling global climate challenges while empowering the next generation of African creatives through initiatives like the Christie Brown Academy, supported by the Mastercard Foundation. Today, we will explore how Aisha infuses culture into every piece, navigates Ghana's fashion landscape and beyond. Stay with us. This is a conversation full of inspiration, purpose, and innovative spirit. Welcome, Aisha. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm absolutely delighted you could make it.
I'm glad. I'm glad we made it happen.
Yes. So let's start from the very beginning. How a young girl is inspired to go on this journey to become one of Ghana's most celebrated fashion designers. I think our audience will love to hear about your rise and how you charted this path to where you are.
So I would say that I grew up in a Pan-Africanist home, and my parents were also quite non-conventional. So there were no boundaries.
That's good.
There weren't, this is the role of a woman, this is the role of a man, or boys do this and girls can't do that.
Yeah.
I saw my dad sort of treat my mom as a partner, as an equal. I sat at their feet and heard some of the most amazing stories, like their debates on politics and, just all kinds of things. So first of all, I think that set the stage for raising a confident young lady who has a passion for Africa, right? And genuine love for the continent and wanting to see the continent rise and do well. So that's that. And then my dad's mom, who is Christie Brown. So the name Christie Brown is actually my grandmother's. And she was a seamstress all her life. Never had big fancy glamorous fashion brand. She was a seamstress. But we grew up, I grew up with her, like we were in the same house, so I was about 8. So I was around the influences. I'm sure that's where my love for fashion was, nurtured.
Yeah.
So there was that as well. But fast forward how many years? It was 2008. I was in Legon. I studied psychology, actually. That's what my background is.
Amazing.
I know. Yeah. And at that time, I don't know if you remember, there's all this talk about Africa rising. Yes. And just the promise of the continent. There was this euphoria and there was something in the air, so to speak.
This was
right?
like 2000.
Yes, around that 2007, 2008, thereabouts. You had Canoe magazine.
Exactly.
And there was there was so much optimism around just the continent and the wealth of the continent and just the talents represented on the continent. People who had moved away, went to school, were moving back. And for me, that Pan-Africanist in me wanted to be a part of that movement. And the best way I knew how was to follow my fashion and go the fashion route. And the premise was we're going to create a global luxury brand from here to show the world the richness and of our continent, and also to highlight the women that I knew. So it wasn't the pictures of starving children and so on. We grew up in, I was privy to women who were just so well-spoken like yourself, well-traveled, educated, opinionated, my mom, my grandmother. So for me, it was, how do we show the world this Africa, right? It's a way of, so it's a form of activism. And that's how the brand was birthed. And you can imagine I was young, in uni, no money.
Unbelievable. I'm looking at you in amazement with what fueled this passion.
It was that.
And I'm thinking, how old could she have
been? She was just in Paris.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
And it was just so full of that, just, I didn't see the obstacles, right? And I'm happy I didn't, because I'm happy I hadn't worked in corporate for some time before I launched. I launched in my final year of uni. So I was really passion driven. I said, well, I'm going to do this. And I knew that I wanted to create a brand that sort of took from our traditions and our culture and, just artisanal techniques, but made them into modern styles for the modern woman, right? Because today she's in a board meeting in Paris.
Running
Tomorrow
everywhere.
she's going somewhere. And how does she carry a piece of the continent with her in a way that's seamless? Like it works well with her wardrobe. So that's how it started. We started by using a lot of wax prints in modern silhouettes and so on. Because at the time, you remember, it was African prints with cabaret slits.
Yeah,
but now it's like,
I remember
we're doing jackets. We're going to do, funky skirts. Yes, it was. So that's how it started. That's how it was birthed. And then of course, I'm carrying the name of my grandmother behind this as well. And she had passed 2 years before I launched. So there was that, I needed to make this work.
Responsibility.
And it had to work, but I was just really excited. And I just saw all the endless, the possibilities.
You were standing on her shoulders. I mean, there's a lot there that you've revealed, Aisha, without realizing. I'm so excited. I don't even know where to start. But first of all, the very fact that you did this inspired by your grandmother. By the way, she had a glamorous name. Even if she didn't have a glamorous shop, I love the name Christie Brown. It has such a ring to it.
Yes.
And the fact that your father was gender neutral in his upbringing style and was used to powerful women, his mother,
and not
your mother.
By
them. Feels very comfortable championing women. I think that also formed part and parcel of who you became.
Absolutely.
That at the tender age, let's be honest, in African
21,
culture,
22.
21 is like, stay in your father's house and keep quiet. You charted this unknown path. And you had this, some people say naive, but very pure vision of what you wanted to achieve. It's almost like it was written in the stars. I know it sounds cliche, but this is going to be your path. And you seem to have sussed out African women, because when I go on conferences, I always want to wear something Ghanaian.
Yes.
And I love when
you should.
Exactly. Oh, who did this? It's a lovely narrative compared to the usual starving children.
It's a conversation starter.
Yes.
But it's the confidence it gives you.
Yes.
Because remember, there was a time women weren't comfortable wearing what they call tribal or too African. It was, you have to wear a suit that looked a certain way. But it's so liberating that you can show up your full self in a space that...
I bet you started, I don't know whether you started at the time where it now became okay for us to do Friday traditional wear.
It hadn't started at the
time. It hadn't started, exactly. So at the time, people were turning their noses up to Ghanaian fabric and all of that.
Oh, it's old fashioned. Yeah. Till then we started doing these interesting pieces. And it was the right time. I feel the woman was ready. The world was ready for that. The world was ready for what we had to offer in terms of contemporary fashion. Because remember, you had your big fashion designers, Kofi Ansah, Joyce Ababios, and so on. So here's this young girl, and I'm like, I'm about to shake this whole thing up. Little did I know, but yes, the passion.
That's how you started.
That's how I started.
That
was clear.
Yeah.
I was really clear about the kind of brand I wanted to.
Yeah. So the clarity of purpose is important when you start this journey. So once you started, inspired by all the wonderful circumstances and upbringing and all of that, the starting is, the hard part. But what kept you going? Because we know it's a long journey.
It is. It's been a long.
What are the sort of things that inspired you and fueled your passion and kept you on the path?
I'm a deeply spiritual person. I pray a lot. I pray about everything. And I know that that's how I know that even Christie Brown and the birth of it, and at the time that I launched it, was all part of God's divine plan for my life and just really what needed to happen, right? Because at every turn, just when there are the dips, something would happen. Just when I'm considering, I'm like,
you're on your knees.
I'm not sure I can. And then something happened that would just propel the brand further or the dream further to make me see that, oh, it is possible. I'll give you an example. I mean, there's so many, right? But within the first, so I launched the brand in 2008.
Yeah.
In 2009, but again, so I've launched this brand. I didn't have it, everything was just. It was difficult.
It was
difficult.
It was
difficult. And I had just enrolled at Joyce Ababios because I wanted to learn how to. So at
that time you didn't. When
I launched, I didn't. No. I was a girl with a dream. I was a girl with a dream, but now my dream was being controlled by other hands because I had tailors all over our crowd, running from here to there to there.
You were at their mercy.
I was at their mercy.
Place to be.
And my thing has always been, if this is the first encounter someone has with the continent, let it not be said that, oh, it's okay for Africa, it's mediocre or what.
Exactly.
So I'd go and they'll do something kind of shoddy. I'm like, no, this is not. Oh, no. But I didn't. So I needed to understand it for myself and learn how garments are meant to be made and constructed. So that
you're in control.
I'm in control. Yeah. So I went and enrolled there. But within that first year, so in 2009, it was the first fashion week on the continent. Okay. It was 50 designers from 50 African countries in South Africa. It was a partnership between Africa Fashion International and SA and Arise Network. I think it was a newspaper in Duka. And they staged this show, well produced, the best talents in terms of models, production, everything. For me, green-eyed. It was the first, I was first time out of Ghana with this, my baby that I'd birthed, but it just also opened my eyes to just the possibilities. At that show, I won an award for Emerging Designer of the Year. And then that award then took me on to this Paris Fashion Week exhibition at the Georgetown. So it's almost like at every turn, it's like, okay, just go a little further.
A little bit of a push. Let me just throw this in the work.
Let me just show so that there was the award, and there was Paris, and then there was learning how industry works, and that there's so much more out there. So then you're coming back with it. I need to do this. I'm going to do this. New collection. So at every turn, there's always been something that has moved. That has kind of pushed me and made me believe even more.
Like divine intervention.
As I went along. And then a certain clarity that it's almost like the vision was not fully revealed to me from the beginning.
So as and when you need it.
As and when you need it. So then you see more and then you see more possibilities. So that's just always fueled me. And then the dream or the vision is big. It's a global luxury brand. So my thing is, as you have the Chanels and the Gucci's of the world, who are the Chanels of Africa? Exactly. Who are the Gucci's of Africa? Exactly. And we're building that. Yeah. So can you imagine? We have a long way to go. So there's no stopping. There's no stopping. So when people say, "Oh, you've done so well," I'm like, "Great, yes, thank you." But
let's move on. Yeah,
let's keep going. So yes,
with a lot of visionaries, because you see the light so clearly at the end that you are focused.
I am.
You tunnel vision, and everybody else is going, "Oh, she's doing so well. What does she want
again?"
But that's the mentality sometimes that we need to work hard against. Yes. Sometimes our vision is small, or our surroundings. Yeah. Make us believe that we can only go thus far. And then we limit ourselves. But when we compare ourselves to our contemporaries across the globe, they are doing huge things. I mean, in London, if you were 21 and you started a brand, it wouldn't be news. But here it's like 21, she has to learn a bit more, work corporate. So I'm glad that you were surrounded by positive people. Who propelled you forward.
And at every turn, people who have again pushed me, because I'm grateful for my circle. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for Ruka, who was my first business coach. Because my husband, imagine you've met this girl, you guys are dating. Yeah. Why are you pulling out spreadsheets and asking me that? Am I looking at my businesses? I'm like,
sounds familiar.
And I was thinking,
the joy.
I was thinking, this guy, but it made me. I almost also wanted to impress him, because at the time when we met, it must have been maybe 2011 thereabouts. So imagine it's 3 years in or so.
Yeah.
It was still in the passion phase. Yes, it was at open the first tour, but I guess he was looking at it like, oh, girl, there's a lot more. And he's
passion,
he
but
was
you
a
need
lot
a
more
whole
business
lot more.
savvy. Yes, so he showed me that, no, you know what, you look at your cost this way. I'm like, but around that same time as well, Ruka, she was a client. And at the time she worked at PwC, and she said, you know what, I'll coach you.
Amazing.
So, she coached, me and CB for years.
It's
and now she even sits on our
how
board.
you're just surrounded by angels when you choose a good path. Because everybody sees the goodness and want to help. And thank God for good men in our lives. Where would we be without
I know.
So that's wonderful.
Yes.
So you have gained international recognition with Christie Brown. It's dizzying to think about it, quite frankly, that we've
done some things.
You have iconic clients like Beyoncé, Alicia Keys. Let me just say, for me, when I think about that, it's like you landing Beyoncé as a client. It's like me bagging Barack Obama as my client. Pretty legendary, Aisha. And I want to know how it came about.
How did that happen?
And how did you experience that as a designer? And you're still sitting here like a normal human being.
Well, I think sometimes we also imagine that I have Beyonce on speed dial. I don't.
Yeah.
But it's
that is good enough.
Again, it's one of those things that we talked about, that something happens and then it sort of pushes you or pushes the brand forward. So this was like 2014. But I think at the time, Beyoncé had this concert. It was called something, the Mrs. Carter Tour. Yeah. And there was a song on there called, I think, Grown Woman or something of the sort. And they wanted an African designer to work with. So they had probably put word out. Somebody on her team reached out to probably maybe the only African she knew from college and said that, do you need a designer? Monique, she's Ghanaian, and Monique said, you know what, check out Christie Brown, showed them, I think, our website or something. And I guess they liked what they saw, right? And they contacted us. When the email came through, I thought it was,
it was a spam.
I wasn't sure. This was right. This was true. And it was a short lead time. And it's like, okay, you might make the costumes for, this performance, her and her dancers. I was in Paris at the time. So everything was done over the phone with me talking to my team on ground to get the things together. Even from going to the market, source the fabric. No, I don't want this. No, cut it this way. Everything was done on the phone. My husband, bless his soul, he also was running out, like just trying to make sure the logistics work for this thing to make it to them on time. But and I was just grateful for the team that I had at the time. Now it's a much larger team, but even still,
that core team held it together,
and that passion to see it done, because they could have easily botched it, right? Exactly. I wasn't physically here, but I was able to direct the team from afar.
That's a measure of a good team.
Yes, it worked out. We sent it. She wore it great. So there wasn't, to be honest, any contact with Beyoncé herself.
But it's huge.
It was great for the brand. And the fact that we even had something for them to see, right? Being ready, that you had a website. But now looking back, this was how many years back? Over a decade.
Almost a decade, over a decade,
But I realized how even then we also weren't so ready to take full advantage of that exposure. But the good thing is Beyoncé is still relevant now. Yes. So having that on our CV has always
she's as sustainable as anything else. It's a reference point.
It's a reference point.
And everybody understands the Beyoncé language. If you say Beyoncé,
exactly.
If you don't listen to her music, you still
know and you love her for something, whether it's work ethic or her talent.
Exactly.
So it's and it's also, it was great for brand positioning. I think over the course of the journey of the brand, there have been things that we've also been quite intentional about, and just the positioning is always very important because it is. We keep saying it's a luxury brand we're building here. Yeah. So you can't do everything.
Exactly. Don't accept every invitation. Don't appear at every platform.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
It's just being intentional about the brand and how we show up.
Definitely.
And we've grown leaps and bounds, and we keep growing in that quest to be, to demonstrate that African excellence that we know that we deserve.
Very important. Yes, very important that we deserve. I like that. Okay, so we've been talking about the razzmatazz so far. the lights, the action, what we see. But I'm sure there were some hurdles, or there have been a bit. Can you just sort of talk us through some of the sort of standard hurdles you came up against as you went along?
Yes, absolutely. At every 10, there'll be those. So in the beginning, I talked about not having my own tailors, not having even not being in control of your final product as you should be.
Yeah.
There was that and the disappointments. But then that also then led to me saying, let me go study this myself. So with every, of course, with every hurdle, there's been that solution or that pivot that has also taken us in a certain direction.
And led to growth, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then there was a period too in Christie Brown where the brand was gaining notoriety or, you know, was popping up in certain places. And now all these requests were coming in either for press or for even stocking somewhere. And it was just me, right? And a couple of tailors, and I was drowning. And so it was overwhelming. Sometimes as simple as even just responding to the emails or even understanding what they were asking. So I at the time we were friends. My good friend Vanessa. She had always been super supportive, and so Vanessa started working with me informally. Like I said, it was something as simple as responding to the emails, or we have a show in SA, Vanessa will come along and we're working backstage together. And we built a beautiful partnership and we work wonderfully well together.
That's great.
And later on in that journey, she then started working she was in Montreal at the time, started working in a fashion company. It's a maternity brand though, but she was working as a buyer. In Montreal. So she was learning the back end of fashion. So it made sense for our working relationship and our partnership. To be formalized. So when she was moving back to Ghana, I made her an offer to formally
make this work.
Join the company. And then so that's how Vanessa, we formed, because we had been working together regardless. Anyway, so we formalized our working relationship. So there's the two of us, that's it, as directors of the company or shareholders of the company. And so again, from that hurdle, then came this beautiful partnership that I think has also sustained the brand thus far.
And I like the friendship behind the partnership. Sometimes it's not very easy to get the right partner.
It's a marriage.
It's a marriage, isn't it?
It's like a marriage. So it's nice if you love each other.
That testing out period. And I bet that you both have your strengths and you complement each other.
And we have respect for each other's strengths. So I am the visionary to Vanessa's operational head. So I think that also has made the brand again grow this far. I mean, there's so many things that have happened. There are times where you would have cash flow issues, even especially in the beginning, or culture issues around just even the very culture, the organizational culture, and then what it leads to within. And
people management. You're speaking my language.
And even going through the phases where the brand has you're in your teething stage, or now you're putting your big girl panties on, you're putting in structure.
There's a growth spurt.
There's a growth spurt. And
what comes with it?
What comes with it? And the consultants who just come and bamboozle you because we're just we're yearning for more, and they say, I can do this and do this. So we've learned the hard way. But my thing is, we're building a model that didn't exist. So others can also glean from other fashion brands on the continent. Because I look back at what we built in Christie Brown and the structure. I mean, we still there's always things to.
It's always the work in progress.
Exactly. But I really think that we have figured, or we're figuring it out, even for others to follow, and it should be much easier for people to establish a global brand from here, because we've gone through a lot to figure it out ourselves and try and test out what works and
what doesn't,
and how do you build a robust, profitable company in this terrain, in an industry that is so hard to even. We haven't raised any money for Christie Brown, so it's been an organic growth and plowing back our profits. But how do you still make that work? But how do you even make your company attractive enough to
Exactly.
for investors
Have the right
at the right
structures in place.
time?
Yeah.
Even knowing, I mean, there was a time we almost went into some, investment deal, but thankfully that didn't happen. So it's all been a learning curve, right? So now you know what to look out for. You know if you're ready for investments and how much actually.
It is not dissimilar from the legal industry.
It's not.
People come knocking around and all that. You need to stand your ground, even if you're feeling the pitch, to see how far you can go.
And solidify the strategy in a way that you realize maybe not. You're probably not the best partner for us at the moment.
So it's it's keeping your eyes open and making sure that you're confident in your vision and where you want to go, and so that you're not pushed off the journey too quickly or too easily by all the noise going on. So I can't resist asking you if you've had, for example, legal challenges like protecting your brand, your design, people trying to misbehave legally. It'll be good to also know for the younger ones out there what to look out for and how you have navigated.
How we've navigated. I mean, thankfully, and God, please let it be that way. We haven't had any major legal issues. Good. But I will say, I mean, everybody knows that Christie Brown is probably one of the most copied brands in this Ghana or in this terrain.
They say that imitation is the best form of flattery, but I don't think so.
It's exhausting. Because when I think of the team and what it takes for us to come up with certain designs, and then somebody,
isn't it?
It's so like this embroidery detailing.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally created this thing
in-house
over a decade ago. So we've been doing this at least for the past 12 or more years. Exactly. So it's a technique that was birthed out of another. And now everybody's, trying. But we put in an industrial application for it. It took a while. I mean, I have to say it's been about 2 years, but finally it's been published. But again, fashion is really, it's tricky. You can't literally patent every single design.
No, you can't.
You can't. So you just have to keep innovating.
You need textiles, whatever.
So far as there's that, a certain degree of change or difference, it fails to be yours anymore. So it's hard to quite protect that. But I guess for us, what we've done is just strengthen the brand positioning so that in the sea of imitations, people still know, okay, but we want the Christie Brown one, and there's the brand value that is attached to it as well. We haven't, and thankfully we haven't had major legal issues, but I think it's also because we've had good advice, we've had good people in our corner who've always sort of open our eyes to, okay, look out for this. Very early statutories have always been a thing for me, even when it was just a sole proprietorship, even before we turned it into a limited liability company. So it's, to be honest, I've been aware, right? And so it helped to make sure that we kind of cover our tracks. But you learn as you go along.
So one of the things that your designs have been celebrated for is creative storytelling. People look at your design and there's a story there. There seems to be a story behind your designs.
Always.
Without divulging your creative secrets, what inspires your design? For example, there's a collection. What inspires that? How do you come up with a collection in a way that blends beautiful Ghanaian culture with modern fashion as well every single time? Is there a method to your madness?
There's definitely a method to the madness. There's a deep why behind everything that we do. And anyone who knows Christie Brown knows that at the very core of the brand is the woman. And anyone who works in the brand or loves the brand knows that we exist to make women, to remind women that they are invincible. Because I believe that we all have it. We all have that greatness.
It's innate,
and sometimes you just need to be reminded of it.
A bit of a pick-me-up.
A bit of a pick-me-up. And that's what we exist to do by using our African heritage and culture. So that being our mission, internal mission statements and so on. With every collection, I did mention I'm deeply spiritual. So I pray about everything. And it comes to me what season she's in. So the woman and her archetype, and we know her. Like I've been doing this for 18 years, so over time she's ringing in my head. But it's always, what season is she in now or entering into?
Okay.
And what does she need as that cloak or superhero cape to enter that season? And it just literally, it will drop in my spirits. Like, I'll give you an example. So our last fall collection, so this particular collection that this jacket is from, the inspiration was that she needed, or the feeling was, the woman was a bit stuck. Like, she's done it all, she's done all these things, but she's feeling a bit of an itch, right? Yeah. And wondering, like, what's next? So then what came to me was, well, the answer is if she just allows herself to dream again and let go and go back into the what doesn't even make sense.
Recharge,
it will almost help her get back to herself in a way that it becomes clear, okay, what the next is. So then the collection was all about just allow yourself to let go, to like dream again, and then find that clarity through that. So then the collection, so then I flesh it out. And I'm like, okay, what does dreaming again mean? And then you start to do some research. And then it led me to Salvador Dali type arts, like surrealist arts, because dream state, all of that. And then mixing and matching things that don't make sense. Because sometimes when you have dreams, sometimes your dreams aren't so clear, it doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah, it's a bit
hazy. Or sometimes your dreams scare you, or they feel too audacious and people try to tame it. So it's like, no. Allow yourself to do that. And then, so it starts from there, and then I do the tangibles of it, and then it starts to form. And then you think about just the silhouettes that would work for her in that mental state, right? So in that state, we are marrying the structure with the fluidity of, well, I'm not sure yet, but I'm still moving. So that's how I think. I know it's a whole process. And then I whittle it down into the actual styles of like, okay, so what does structure then look like? It's your jackets, it's the shoulders, is it, the fabrication, then colors as well. What colors speak to this inspiration? But at the very core is really, how is the woman feeling and where is she at right now? So you see our sports inspired collection in 2025, I think our spring collection, it was sports inspired because I said, she just needs to go, like move. And that was the first collection of the year, to just move. Don't overthink it, just move.
Just keep going.
Just keep going in front of the next. And so for me, the analogy was sports. So then the collection just took that form, sports inspired. You had stripes, you had a bomber jacket, you had even a jersey in there. So that's how I'll never run out of inspiration because the woman exists. She's living and breathing. So the more I interact with women like you and through my bespoke service as well, I get inspired. And I get a sense for what is happening with her. Because you see a trend.
At the time,
And then you see what's happening in the world where there's a lot of uncertainty. Sometimes what does she need to be able to thrive?
Because we've experienced a lot of that in the last
couple of years. And but she still needs to move. And I still need to see women be the best version of themselves and take up a position of leadership in whatever sphere. So what does she need to be able to give her that push to
pull her forward?
And it works.
Amazing. It's interesting that no part of a journey is an accident.
No.
And the fact that you studied psychology is speaking volumes at the moment, Aisha. I didn't know what decisions led to you reading psychology at the time, but I'm sure that your first love was fashion. But somehow you ended up in psychology.
I ended up in psychology.
It's informed.
It really
the
does.
Refreshing pieces that you make.
It's short.
This is not something somebody can steal.
No, because they'll copy and then you'll copy a style.
But
so folks will ask, but how do you guys keep doing it season after season? Because the woman who inspires us, she's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
She's still doing amazing things. So far as she's winning, we will keep creating to fit, her lifestyle.
Can I just say that Aisha glossed over this, my jacket. She just said it's part of it. But I need to, ladies and gentlemen, take a moment to highlight.
Take a moment for the jacket.
The beautiful craftsmanship that you are seeing now is a testament to the talent of Aisha Ayensu, who I have the privilege of interviewing at the moment. And I think it exemplifies perfectly the blend that we spoke about, that African tradition, the Ghanaian tradition, and modern fashion. I'm sitting here feeling quite empowered with this power jacket.
You were meant to feel that. You wait till you went to a conference or something. And then you're feeling yourself.
So this psychology you're talking about is no joke. This is it. I actually feel a sense of identity, a sense of empowerment, feeling like in the whole hazy future, I'm taking my stake.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I love that.
You have won.
Yes.
Spot on.
So testimony right there.
So, yes.
But it's why we do it.
I mean, it's amazing. The way it all comes together.
Is just because.
Yeah.
No peace is just because.
It's very intentional.
Yeah,
there's a process to it.
Very intentional. And so the team also comes to appreciate that.
Yes.
And
when they see that you're totally deeply focused and passionate, you get their buy-in. Yeah. And that's why when you travel miles away, they are still trying to make it work.
Exactly.
So yes, and I have to compliment you on your retail team. They're absolutely
amazing. And
so visit Flagship and see Christie Brown.
And Gladys, who is the head of retail, has been in the brand for over 17 years. So she's been in the brand, went off to school, came back. Yeah, I'm telling you, she is Christie Brown. She is the brand.
And it's interesting, you drop a few things in there that gives me a sense of who you are as a leader as well. Because in regular corporate world in Ghana, if you need to take time out to study, you probably not come back.
True.
So when you just said he's going to study and come back, it's interesting. It's a legacy to you and how you lead. Because you see the big picture. It's not always about, if you want to study, then you're out. Somebody else in.
Somebody comes in.
You don't know what's coming in.
And you value people.
Yeah, you value people.
Because who are we? This are big, audacious goals for Christie Brown. Without our people and the buy-in of our people, I'm not sure where we would be with that. So how do we also pour into them?
Yes.
And how do we take them along the journey?
So that they also feel fulfilled and they take ownership and empowered. Because, we can't do it on our own.
We can't.
I mean, you're fantastic. But if you have to step aside for a moment, you have to rely on your team.
On the team. So it's how do we get them? Yeah. How do we bring them along the journey? So it's really fun.
This is good. So as if what you have done is not enough, Aisha, you decided to give back somehow. And I'm wondering, somebody sitting there watching you thinking, this woman is self-accomplished. She's done it all. She is global, which wants to be more global. Why is she wasting her time giving back? Is this, why is she trying to put herself out there more and give back? Well, she doesn't need to. Does she have a downtime? So tell me about this giving back philosophy.
So, when people term it CSR, and so for me, it's not a CSR.
Yeah.
It is who we are as a people. Remember I said, this thing we're doing, it's to propel the continent.
Yes.
So that the image of the continent, but the people, African people. So of what's good is Christie Brown? If we are touted all over the world, we're doing this, we're doing that, but our people can't benefit from the success of the brand, then I have failed.
Yeah.
So in even starting Christie Brown Academy, you see, the lessons that we learned, I learned along the way.
You did an MBA whilst running the business.
I did an MBA. Remember, Christie Brown, I started at the time, there was no Instagram. It just didn't exist, right? So it was a different 18 years ago. In March,
what was there? E-commerce? What was it?
Blogging had just started on some websites, but there wasn't like an Instagram. Facebook had just started. So imagine, you didn't have this. Now, as a click of a button, there's so much visibility for brands now and so on.
Yeah.
And my thing is, the lessons or the struggles that we went through, younger brands don't need to go through the same to figure it out. If we are building the model, then we have to be able to build the model, build it right, but also make it accessible for folks to be able to glean from and build robust brands and companies by example
all around you.
Exactly. And that's what builds our ecosystem. Because what is the point in being that one big fish in a small pond and then we are just it's just
Holding
so
it all
stifling.
in.
Holding it all
Yeah,
in. We can't be
not being
reservoirs.
generous
And
about it.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's, and I also believe in us being good stewards of the gifts that God has given us. And it's not for us to keep, right?
It's
It's
a
for His
gift.
people as well.
Pretty
So
much,
it's like,
yeah.
let it flow. Let
Yeah.
it flow through. So in starting the academy, it was very much designed around even the curriculum. Because I remember, there was a conversation with someone, because we're looking at, okay, who to, sort of build the curriculum for us. And when people are telling you what to do, and they're like, no, you should do this, and they should make it like a technical, because that's what we like in Ghana. And I said, you know what? No. I actually want to model this off of this whole experience, because that is what the young designer will go through. They will most likely go through the same journey in a way.
Out in the several technical courses that we attend.
So many technical institutions. I think there's so many technical institutions, but there isn't one like this that speaks to the business of fashion and sustainable innovation within fashion. The reason why it was key to bring in sustainable innovation is we didn't start the brand with that sustainability mindset. It's a more recent.
Yes, very recent.
The more recent thing, the buzzwords and so on. But I'm one of those people too that don't like to just tag onto buzzwords, because it makes me feel like a bit of a phony.
You're doing it anyway. That's the point.
And it wasn't about, we are sustainable.
Exactly.
But I realized that it's only later that we saw the value of it. So now we're trying to backtrack. But I'm like, but these younger brands, as they are starting out, imagine if they had that mindset
all that
from the start. They will
all this information.
Corporations, B Corp, we are talking about, they'll build it from day one.
Yeah.
How do we create an academy or an institution that embeds that business of fashion for sustainability within the company, but also environmental sustainability as well? How do we use what's around us to create pieces that, again, they're sold globally all around the world, but it allows that the entire value chain to work? And imagine the jobs that we'll be creating right here on the continent.
That's a major
for me,
point.
that my little part, right? But
Jobs,
it's fashioned off of the Christie Brown experience. We don't hold back. Even the curriculum, the modules, they speak to, it starts from like who you are as a person, because I really believe that they need to also develop a strong sense of why they exist as brands. And you can't do that if you don't know yourself. Because otherwise you just be copying. You will just keep copying, and then there's no originality.
Flirting with different people's creations.
So you do that part. You learn the business, and then structuring the business of fashion, how to put together the collections, but why, and how to make commercial sense of your creativity.
Because it's a business.
It's at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then the people components, how to, nurture that, the right culture. And then there's the sustainability angle, which is more about sustainable innovation. What do we have, and how do we use what's in your jar, and how do you use it to create? So that's the model. It's a 1-year program with the MasterCard, which came to an end, but the vision is to establish the academy as an institutional
ongoing concern. Yeah. Well done, you. I mean, you've talked a lot about what you stand to gain, or what they gained from the academy experience. Did you sort of look out for particular applicants? What were the things that jumped out at you to take on particular young talents for the experience?
And in the selection process.
The selection process, yes.
There's a certain hunger. You have to want it.
Yes, exactly.
Because that program, the first program, it was free, pretty much, right? Because it was a MasterCard program. And I am always pretty wary of that. I don't like free things. I don't believe in freebies. I feel like people
There's no free lunch.
Yes, free lunch, and you need to put some skin in the game. You need to earn it. So we needed to see that there were people who actually wanted this. There's a certain a character thing. A bit of grits is good.
It is.
Especially in this terrain. So that's how we picked the first cohort. It was that, and of course, some knowledge. And ideally, they should have done some course in the technical. So it wasn't green where we are teaching you to sew, because you should have done that. And now we're saying, what do you do with this skill, and how do you turn it into a successful business? So that's definitely something.
Well, lucky them. Lucky them.
I hope
being at the right place at the right time too.
I really pray
they go on to do something wonderful with it.
But we had been, informally, we had an academy internally.
Exactly.
A lot of creative talent have passed through Christie Brown. They don't always, some have worked 2 years and then they go off and start their brands. And not all as designers. We've had set designer, Shim, who is a set designer, people who are in PR. Almost everyone has kind of
taking
through
bits
this
and bobs
because
out of it.
thankfully we have a structure that allows people to find different careers within fashion, within the company. So not everyone is a designer in Christie.
It's been a good 18 years, I'm sure.
A good 18 years.
If you had an alumni party.
Sometimes they tease each other, when you pass a bachelor cohort.
There'll be a few people hanging around.
Quite a few, and they stay within our orbits, which is great, right? So now we've created this ecosystem. If I need PR work, I know I call. If I needed art direction, I'm calling Noel or Kobe, who is now our art director, because these are people who've come through the brand, you know.
Entrepreneurship is the best answer to Africa, quite frankly. I mean, we are a young, budding generation.
We're going to have the largest population of young people by 2050 or so.
Apparently by 2050, every 1 in 4 persons will be African.
Yes. And so and for me, if we have the largest population of young people, what are we doing? And then what are we doing with that? Because that's a resource in and of itself. That's why training and talent building and just
very important.
It's really important now.
Support people like you, entrepreneurs that are doing it in their own small way, are creating jobs and looking after
or pathways to jobs. Exactly. Because what are they going to do?
Households. Because if you engage somebody, you're looking after their wife and their children.
And their children. Because in Christie Brown, we have about maybe 90 or so staff. And for me, it's the families represented there. It's a lot, I know. So there's manufacturing as well, and then those in. But
we are 20, and I'm like, and 90. Amazing. Amazing. God bless you for that, for sure.
I'm proud of what we've created. I'm proud of what we've built as a team.
And long may it continue.
Amen.
So,
yes,
amidst all the successes that you have chalked, what makes you stay so grounded and down to earth and focusing on what you need to do?
What I need to do.
That's something, whether you know it or not, I have to say, most people say, you're so nice. We met Aisha. It's almost like they're expecting you to have some earth when they read your repertoire. And then they're like, oh, Aisha's so nice. I'm like, why is it that everybody says Aisha? Like they have to say it,
I wonder if my team will say that. Because I'm like,
it doesn't matter. You've got to be tough in business.
Oh, you've got to be.
But I get the sense that you're fairly grounded and down to earth, and you're just like, hey, let's keep going.
I think it's my upbringing, the home I grew up in. My parents are like that as well. We're very, they don't have the airs. I didn't grow up around that. I didn't grow up valuing that.
Yeah.
And we didn't also grow up valuing things. So, material things. Yeah. And now I wish I liked money a lot more. Sometimes I tell my parents, it's not so bad. But I think
the values, the true values.
It was a lot more important in our
invested.
Home. Yes, and you see people as people. So what is this? Raising up yourself and putting this down. And so I didn't grow up in that kind of home.
Yeah.
And thankfully, Michael is also really grounded. My husband is Michael. He's very.
He's not going to tell me.
He's not going to. What are you doing?
Don't even go there.
My best friend Aggie is the time. Even if I did, he was like, "Hey, what did you say?" I have people. I have accountability partners who would remind me of who I am at my very core, and I appreciate that.
So you keep around your core, your tribe,
my tribe,
so that you can kick off your heels or whatever and go and have a drink or watch a movie, and
I appreciate those moments.
Very important.
And meaningful conversations. And when I connect with people, I connect. Like it's not, I didn't grow up being we're not transactional people.
You're not superficial.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You're real.
Yes, and I value that.
Exactly.
And because I'm also quite intuitive and I'm an energy type of person. So whenever the environment is too uppity, too stiff, I don't thrive. I don't do very well in those kinds of. So I think it's just naturally that's just who I am.
But it happens that way. Yeah. That from what you're saying to me, you're sort of an introvert, extrovert.
Yes.
You have to be an extrovert because of your job.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to
draw back
and recharge.
Yeah. And I can be by myself.
Exactly.
Because sometimes I'll travel for work or whatnot, and Michael will say, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh no, I'm in my room." And he said,
"Aren't you schmoozing?"
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Yes, I need those moments of calm and just quiet. And I'm
But
in
I
my
think
thoughts a lot.
creatives are like that.
Yes.
I
We
mean,
need to retreat.
Otherwise, how will you get
very
the
much
moment of clarity to come
all
up with
this
these
noise
beautiful
and
designs?
cha-cha-cha-cha.
No.
No.
If it works for you, it works for
And
you.
so there are
And
times I go, I'm sure there are people who sometimes they're trying to reach me, it's like, where is she? It's because I probably...
And I bet you get invited to a lot of parties and everybody expects you to be there with a glass of champ and you're like, no, I want a hot cup of cocoa and wear my pajamas.
I can't do it all. So yes, and I also have to protect my peace and my space. So I'm also really cautious.
You're a mother and a wife, and you can't neglect
mother of
those
3.
as well. Exactly.
Can you imagine with my tiny self?
I know the feeling.
Right? People are like, you have 3 kids, but yes, 3 children, a home to build, and
very important.
Yes, so it's
very
that
important.
balance. And just
that you're a mommy first, and then you can give off your best to the rest of us, right?
Yes.
So well done on
Thank
you. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's working.
Thank you.
So looking ahead, I know your path is global. Let's look at Africa for a moment. Where do you see the future of fashion?
For fashion and
for the continent.
It's
generally. How do you see
it is the future I want
and making us work as Africa first?
It's the future I want. So our strategy in Christie Brown, actually, we just completed a Stanford Seed program.
Okay.
The whole of last year we were in it, and it's like an MBA program run by Stanford, but for business leaders, but with your team as well. It is phenomenal, honestly. They're not paying me to, but it was such a great program.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, you draw up a transformation plan. And part of our transformation, we call it T plan. Part of our T plan is in the next 5 years. Yes, we're growing this global luxury brand, but the Christie Brown strategy is Africa first. So we have certain key markets on the continent that we absolutely need to, solidify, conquer, and dominate.
Yeah.
And so help us God. And I think and for us, that is the way we need to build the industry on the continent. Let's understand our consumers well. Let's understand our markets and try and build for our markets also. Yes. With continental free trade, agreements. I can't wait. I can't wait for us to trade easily amongst ourselves and even the free movement of labor and so on. And just the power that we can wield as a continent. I also think it's really important for us to coin or articulate what luxury means from an African lens, because otherwise we will forever be chasing approval from the Western lens. Yes. And that will never be. It will never work. So let's understand for ourselves who we are as a people.
Standards of luxury is.
And it doesn't mean subpar at all. No. But we have to take it back and we have to do a bit of a deep dive and appreciate who we are and what we have. And that's what I see as the future of African fashion. It's almost like a deep resonance with who we are and build for us in a way that the world then can't help but respect and acknowledge, right? And so that when you do go to into the global space, you're going on your own terms with a certain clarity. And then you're schooling them. Otherwise, everybody's trying to, bring this and then let's, can you do it through our lens? Let's tweak it a bit.
Let's westernize this a little bit.
Exactly. It's that confidence that we need to build. And I think it will happen.
And it transcends in all spheres, actually. That confidence is desperately needed.
I think so. I think for businesses or industries on the continent, we need to start building our own.
And be counted.
We need to start building our own. Is it the numbers we don't have? Is it that we have the population? Is it resources we don't have? We do have
resources and the talent.
It's how do we build the infrastructure also? And that was the last thing about our industry is just even building the infrastructure and systems that back a robust industry. That ecosystem needs to work, right? The entire value chain, supply chain. And so that's where I see this going, and I see it happening. And I see amazing brands popping up, whether it's from Nigeria, from here, and there's so much more to be done. And I think that our power is also in collaboration, collaborating with other industries as well. It is critical. But we have a window.
Yeah.
I feel a certain sense of urgency that we have a window.
If we don't grab
we need to grab it all because
across
government needs to policy-wise, the financial institutions, we all need to be talking, right, to build this thing.
And we can't be doing it in silos. We need to get together. Yeah.
And we as fashion designers or fashion brands, we're the hardest industry to get association. Egos are too big.
I'm telling
you. It's so hard to get us to just galvanize so
together.
We can even effect change, like policy change, or even, I get so passionate about that. I don't even.
That's true. That's why I'm saying that. But people make a point of saying Aisha is lovely. Do you see? Because they are not used to it. There's a certain airs and graces that comes with creatives. That they are mini gods and goddesses.
So we are creative.
And then they can do this, and they haven't got time for little people. Whereas for you, it's so refreshing. You meet her, she's like the girl next door. You're like, is she the one doing this, you guys? She needs to have some ego to own this ship.
And people say, Aisha, then you bring, but it's time, right? And we all have to want it, right? But it's time that we galvanize,
the younger
strategize.
God bless them, would hopefully want it.
They do
want to stand up and
they do better.
Make this. They do
better at collaborating and
definitely.
letting down the airs and
up in that sort of world.
Yes, I find that.
And for you, you were sort of a revolutionary when you started. You did something completely unheard of. So because you are the pace setter, you're like the bridge between the old and the new.
And it's true.
You really are in that sense. So I think you've got your work cut out for you.
Yes,
it's like, do I belong to the old?
Yes.
But
in my head, I'm 25.
Yeah. We all suffer from that illness.
And I'm still with it. And I realize that not quite. But yes, that bridge, there's a bit of a responsibility on myself and the brand. I feel it. On the brand to make sure that we make this thing work. That we make this industry, even start with Ghana, right? Like the fashion industry here. I just feel it so much. So I'm always trying to connect people. If I meet someone who does it, I said, you know what, you guys need to talk. You have a retail store, you have a brand. I think this store works for you.
Exactly.
Or, we just need to.
It's very important from what you're saying as well. In terms of leadership, you should. I'm a firm believer that you need to keep the door open for those who are coming behind you. When you walk into a room, and that's what you're doing. You're not just saying I have arrived. With Beyoncé on my arm.
Yes.
But how is it going to look like in a decade? What am I doing to give back? If you were to advise a young designer watching us now who thinks you are untouchable, and when am I ever going to get there? What are the key traits that you would say, or the key skills that you see they need absolutely to embark on this journey?
Clarity of purpose very early. They need to take their time to nurture that.
Yes.
We spoke about it earlier about how we'll never run out of inspiration because there's a why. There's somewhere, there's a fuel.
Yeah.
But also that clarity of purpose just helps you to stay the course as well. When the going gets tough.
Cut out the noise and keep
going forward. But just that clarity, because I speak to quite a few young designers and so on. And they're like, I don't know, I want to do that. But just take the time to just dig deeper and just find that, be clear about what it is that you want. You might not have the entire how, but just at least that. So start with that deep sense of. And then build that grid. Like, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty because it is not glamorous.
Yes.
Especially this industry, there's nothing glamorous about
the process.
And walk the journey and don't be in too much of a hurry for the glitz and the glam and so on. But, it will come.
Yeah.
And then also, I would say prioritizing building systems that will solidify that foundation. Exactly. A strong foundation that will stand the test of time because the wind will blow. And the storms will come. But those systems, those structures, and if you start early, it's easier for you to continue that way.
Exactly.
So those three things I would say,
very important.
Those are my sage words.
Very sage indeed. So, Aisha, you've sustained this business for a good 18 years. There must be something about your leadership philosophy. What is it? What's your leadership style that people want to stick around?
Stick around or not. But I am, I find that I'm a very intuitive leader. I'm a feeler. I keep saying that, but I think also my intuition, and again, because I'm so spiritual, I know it's I'm spirit-led.
Yeah.
But even as a leader, it's how I'm very intuitive as a leader. So, but that is also quite hard for everyone else to grasp.
When they don't see it.
When they don't see it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm quite good at bringing folks along or getting people to buy into.
That's a good trait.
That vision.
Take ownership of the journey.
Ownership.
Yeah.
I am the worst manager. I suck at the little details of it. Yes. But I also recognize that. So I am, and when I say I'm collaborative in my leadership, I understand where my strengths are and where my strengths end and where my weaknesses are. So I lean
the
on those.
You can get to fill in the gaps.
To get to fill in the gaps and allow them to also do their thing.
Empower them.
And empower them to also lead with that. And I lean on them for the stuff that I do not know.
Yes.
I have been told that I'm not very patient. I'm working on that. Because sometimes when you've seen it, and you've seen 10 steps,
10 steps ahead, you're thinking, why are you backtracking?
Even messages, I'm like,
minutiae.
The point. Like I like to get information in a
You're very
way.
functional.
I am.
Let's what do you need?
Because I see it, or when you're explaining something to me, I think it's also because of just how my mind, I've seen, I get it.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's move on. So, but I am that leader. I'm able to bring, rally the troop.
Yes. You can identify talent easily. And
I identify talent easily. I meet people and I can already see, this person will be great for us, along this journey at some point. So I may keep the person in our orbit. So I'm really good at that. Now I've learned to not just take decisions based on, because before it's like, gut feel, we're going this direction.
It's all in your head.
It's all in my head. But now I've come to appreciate the value of the tangibles and data and just testing that intuition against the actual tangibles. Yeah. And sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. Sometimes I'm like, I knew it. I knew this is the way. But sometimes I'm like, probably not. Yeah. So let's put the brakes on it. So I'm grateful for a team that is also, Vanessa, my business partner, who is, she's more operational and everything. She's more nitty gritty or focuses on
and do the stages.
Yes, or even focusing on the one thing. Yeah. She's really good at that. So it's, it's good to have those minds at the table. So my senior management team, I value a lot because it's made up of different superpowers. We have a fractional CFO. She's blunt, but she knows her stuff and she's able to tell us as it is.
The way it is.
Exactly. So yes, I find I surround myself with the superheroes that make Avengers that makes this work.
So you have a sort of collaborative leadership style.
I am extremely collaborative,
more sustainable.
I am. Yeah,
it makes people feel valued as well.
I hope they do. But yes, that's definitely my leadership
as an entrepreneur, you never know. But you're hoping for the best. So long as the clock is ticking, you must be doing something right. Don't rock the boat and ask too many questions. Oh, that's fantastic. So. Wow. What's the future for Christie Brown? There's one thing
is
that you think that you'll be focusing on in the coming years.
It's definitely our reach, right? Our expansion across different markets. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to the learnings from that journey. Yeah. It will stretch us, I can tell. But we're ready.
It will bring exposure.
Yes, there'll be growth. There'll be gain. Exactly. I can see it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
So yes, it's that market expansion and Christie Brown popping up in spaces that it's about time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I don't want to stop, but I know that at some point I have to let this busy mother of three go away. But Aisha Ayensu of Christie Brown, thank you so much.
Thank you,
for sharing your inspiring journey with us. I have to say your passion, your dedication, your creativity is very inspiring.
I'm blushing. Thank you.
I can't wait to see what Christie Brown has up its sleeve.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to charter this path that you focused on for 18 years.
Yeah.
You're going to do bigger and better.
Yes.
I hope, dear
Yeah.
listeners, you've also been inspired as I have been.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the BPA Community First podcast. My name is Adelaide Benneh Prempeh, and I've had a delightful guest in the person of Aisha Ayensu. Thank you, and I wish you all a happy new year. Take care. Bye-bye.